Same here. So, Elias, tell us about this whirlwind of a time you've been having so far. I mean, wow, Euphoria, Young Cal, that show, all your characters are menacing. Pretty Little Things, Pretty Liars, right?
Mhm.
Rather, that show, I saw a snippet of it, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" Like, you really drop into these characters. It's phenomenal.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a wild ride of the last couple of years. Very grateful to Sam Levinson, Zendaya, and everyone from Euphoria. They treated that show like it was just the most special thing. Everyone on set was incredibly inspired because everyone knew we were making something great. And they just brought Henry and I, the guy who played my best friend in that episode, they just brought us in and threw us in, and we were a part of that inspiration, and we became a part of the team without skipping a beat. And we did something that was very special. One of the more, I think, watched episodes in Euphoria. I think maybe it's like the second or third most watched episode in Euphoria. And we just had a blast making it. And it shows because it did so well with the fans, and people really related to it, and it really opened up the character of Cal. And Eric Dane, by the way, is incredible. The guy who plays Cal. I remember Sam Levinson came up to me one of the nights, and he's like, "All right, Elias, you're all wrapped, but if you'd like to stick around and watch your older version, you're more than welcome to." And I'm like, "Yes, of course." So they walked me to Video Village where they have all the monitors, and he's there, and he's a very, very studly, very like built man's man. And in his deep voice, he goes, "Is that young Cal right there?" And I throw out my hand, and he gives me a handshake. He's, telling me how good he thinks my work is. And then we actually go have a coffee or, behind the trailers or the bathrooms, whatever it was. And he tells me about LA and some of the pitfalls of the business. And he was just a great guy, the greatest guy. And then from that, yeah, Pretty Little Liars, which we're about to go into our second season of in March. And I don't know if I can tell you this yet or not, but they offered me a series regular contract for this second season. So I'm excited about that. My character is going to have a lot more depth to him, a lot more writing, a lot more space. So I'm excited about that. And then the biggest thing I've done so far is My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the new one. The third one we just finished this summer. It was the greatest summer of my life. Spent it in Greece, and having a name like mine, that I'm very Greek. So it was great. I got to connect with my culture, and my language skills improved a bit. I don't speak a lot, but just being around it all the time, I had to go. My dad made us go to Greek school for 6 years. I've got an identical twin and a little brother. We all had to go to Greek school forever. But so it came back, and it was great. But the people, it was insane. And I've actually, one of the reasons I'm in LA right now is because I'm going to a premiere with Nia Vardalos, who wrote and directed it. We're gonna go have some drinks and talk on Friday, and I'm hoping I can see some dailies. But yeah, I'm very excited for My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. It's going to be a good release, and yeah, I think everyone's ready to watch it. And then finally, sorry, I'll stop talking. Was in Salt Lake City shooting a rom-com with Jenna Ortega. She was just on Kimmel last night, so that was super, super great for her, promoting Wednesday. But anyway, yeah, doing a rom-com out in Salt Lake City with her and this kid, Percy Hines White, who's a great guy. Yeah, and I'm in LA right now. So it's been a lot of traveling.
Right, right. And I love when I did some research on you. I saw you in CR Fashion Book, and you were talking about how you're a New York actor. I thought also saw a piece with you in Harper's Bazaar, I believe, as well, or 17, one of the two. And you were talking about how you're forever a New York actor. Can you explain to people what that means?
Yes, absolutely, man. That's a great question. I fucking love that. Um, I think So I only come to LA if I have to work or for short visits, but I have an apartment and I live in New York City. And I do that because number one, that's where NYU was, where I went to school briefly and was, had my actors training. But like it's got the best acting training in the world. And you get your you get your De Niro's, your Pacinos, your Alec Baldwin's, a lot of these great actors trained in New York. And I trained in the method acting studio, the Lee Strasberg studio, which many of them did. And I had a lot of these very, very famous teachers. Actually, Sam Levinson, the creator of Euphoria, and I trained at the same place I trained. And when I was on set, we found out that we shared the same teachers. So we were able to really click in with the method together and work so well because we had that training. But it's also kind of what it says about you is that you're a little bit of a grittier actor. You're facing the cold winters in New York. You're doing it like everyone else. And it's just, I think it's a good title to hold is this kid's a New York actor. Because you can do stage and screen and you can do it at the highest level. It's what that says about you anyway. No, we'll figure out.
Right. No. I love it. I love it. When I saw that, I was like, okay, wow, thank God, not your stereotypical Hollywood, crooner, good-looking
Yeah.
guy. This is a guy that's really like serious. Tisch School of Acting, Lee Strasberg. I've been around the block and I've seen that school and I've seen and I've witnessed some of the most amazing people come out of that school. Even working with Susan Batson, I've worked with Susan Batson as just as a person that's a leader in my organization. I believe that you have a firm grasp on who you are and going in deep. You already know, giving yourself permission and using where you are at the moment to really go in with the character and, making those two kind of melt together. I think that's amazing. Even when I see, yeah.
You made a great point. You made a great point in that I've been very fortunate to have this sense of self going into these roles because I did not start out as an actor. My dad's a lawyer, my mom's a teacher. And so I kind of just assumed that I would be on that life of the mind path where I would be a lawyer or a doctor. And I assumed that of my twin and my little brother as well, or in business. And for a minute there, I got into American University for pre-med and I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon and that was going to happen. And then I had an honest conversation with my dad where I'm like, I'm a performer and I don't know what's telling me that necessarily. I don't have anything to back it up, but I know that I am one. And I slept on couches in Brooklyn until I started to make my way. But that was the beautiful thing is I had a regular, amazing childhood to figure all these things out before ever stepping on stage or developing a bad habit. So I was able to bring myself fully to these roles and fully to my NYU audition, and they saw something, potential with that. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was going to touch on that too. I was like, wow, how do you go from pre-med to where you are now? But you answered it, I mean, brilliantly. And it's so beautiful to see a young person like yourself giving yourself permission to do that, to delve deep. But again, like I said before, I'll see little snippets of you, 30-second snippets, and I'm like, this kid is really dropped in. Like you're so like
There's not a lot out there right now, but there's a lot more coming. There's a lot more coming.
Yeah, you can tell. And I was like, I got so excited when I saw that we were gonna. I was like, this person, this human being, has so much more to show people. For people who happen to be attractive, just because you're an attractive person, you could easily leaned on that. But you were like, no, I'm a performer, and I'm a grittier performer. I'm from New York. And it's like, I'm sure you know about the Obie Awards and the Tony Awards. And I'm sure that's like the path where I see you going into, like you said, the De Niro's, just all the crazy gritty stuff, like the everything gory, like anything you can think of that's like gory and this in your face. So who you are. And that's why I was so excited to speak to you, because when it's unlike Zendaya and a few others, it's very hard, maybe a few people here and there, Sky Jackson, this person, somebody with an attitude,
Mhm.
stormy. But for you, for the guys, I haven't seen a guy doing what you're doing in so long. Like it's, and I
Thank
guess what 21 Jump Street with what's his name? The big actor in the world that plays the Pirates of the Caribbean.
oh, Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp, 21 Jump Street. I wanted you to say the name. But you're such a Johnny Depp type actor. You're so drawn in. Leonardo, Basketball Diaries, like any
Yeah,
snippet I see of you,
yeah.
any snippet I see of you, I'm like, just going crazy because I'm like, finally, another guy, another human being that gets it. It's just not about his looks. It's more so about, about you really giving yourself permission to delve deep into that role. And so when I see you, I was like, whoa, even seeing snippets on Pretty Little Liars, I'm just like, what? You're so menacing. You're so
Thank you.
menacing. So
Thank you. Well, I credit that all to my my brothers and my father. You know, they gave me the gift of fury, man. If I need to get the intensity up, I have a lot of training with them. So yeah, tip of the cap.
so how do you portray? I mean, we get it. We get it. We get your parents and your brother, particularly your twin, I'm sure, gave you the gift of fury. But how do you really delve deep into these roles? Like, I mean, it's method acting, obviously, but
Yeah.
can you just give us a little, I guess, a little snippet of some of the ways that you get in the mood for these roles?
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's the best acting starts first with observation, right? So I'm reading whatever script I have, and I'm taking, the certainties, the facts and the fiction from it, and there's stuff that I can pull from both of those categories. So observation, and then yeah, whatever parallel my character has with myself is an instance from my real life that I'll take. So for example, when I was in the Euphoria, when I was very emotional on the dance floor and I had just kissed the love of my life, and those feelings coming, and I was just finding it, and I was it was beautiful, right? It was love, this discovery of love. I used the parallel in my life where this girl who had completely shattered my heart, but that we had moments of beauty. I was, kind of bringing myself the sense memory of her, and those emotions just naturally come up to the surface. And yeah, that's how I do it usually.
Wow, yeah, because I was like, wow, this guy's awesome. There's so many different layers to all your characters. Even though me and you both know you're scratching the surface, and that's why Hollywood's calling you, because you already know there's only a handful of gritty actors like yourself out there that are giving the opportunity to really showcase what they have. And now you understand that. And you're like, well, I'm not moving just yet, which I think is tremendously, I applaud you for that.
Vaughn, I
Because
got to get you on my publicist team, bro. You are killing this.
well, I mean, it's so difficult to find. It's so difficult to run into a young person like you that really gets it. And like I said before, every single inch you don't. So if somebody decided to film you in actual film again, when you're gonna get that opportunity very soon, I'm sure somebody's gonna want to use film. They won't have to use a bunch of film and waste a bunch of money on different takes because you already dropped in. You get it. You understand the
Yeah.
exercising your actor, giving yourself permission, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and then also just what you're trying to get from another person. Like when you were kissing the young lady on the dance floor on your forehead, you know, there's an agenda. Everybody has an agenda. What do you expect to get from that person? What are you trying to get from that person? It's like you can see it always on your person. It's like, who is this kid? It's like
Yeah.
it's like you're really so methodic, but at the same time, you're organic. You were born to be an actor, and it's just like you also remind me of a young version of everyone else in Hollywood that we used to see him in Vanilla Sky, Tom Cruise, just a lot of great actors that really had some amazing roles from Top Gun to now. So I can just see the sky's the limit with you. But what do you see yourself? Because now you got this series regular, right?
Yeah.
So now you're all set financially in the actors world. But what, where do you see yourself? What's next after this? Like, The sky's the
So,
limit. You know, my
yeah,
big the Greek wedding. That franchise is hilarious. Like
yeah.
everyone loves that franchise. So what's like? What do you see yourself in the immediate future?
Skies are looking, everything's looking clear right now. I've got a great year ahead. So we're gonna finish this rom-com I'm doing in Salt Lake City in December. In January, I'm gonna go finish this indie film. We're gonna be filming the rest of it in Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm excited about that one. That one's like a real gritty. That's like the type of stuff where I'm gonna have to be down about 10 pounds. And I play this like guy who's been kidnapped, and it's like 1800s coastal maritime Maine. I've been kidnapped, bludgeoned, and I have to get off this boat by cheating, stealing, killing, and get to this card game to try and win my life back, basically. So it's a great script, and I'm very excited for it. Then after that, that'll end roughly in February, and then Pretty Little Liars, the new season, and then after that, I've got another film that I'm not allowed to say anything about, but yeah, I've got some stuff coming ahead, and I'm very excited for it. And then press for My Big Fat Greek Wedding will probably be happening during like February, March for the release. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy next couple months.
Have you ever thought about doing anything in the action genre as well?
Action, yeah. I mean, one of the castmates on My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Louis Mandalore, he's like an action star. Like he does his own stunts, and it was very cool to see. And you know, if the opportunity presents itself, I'd love to look into it. I'm up for. Another reason I'm in LA right now is I'm supposed to be talking to a director about a potential boxing movie. So I guess you could throw that in the category of action. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun to do some action stuff.
That sounds phenomenal. So being at the level that you're at right now, how does it feel? Do you feel like you've really made a choice that was worth, I guess, fighting for with your parents, with the the whole dropping out of your pre-med program and
Yeah.
starting this new journey? Do you feel like your parents are like, okay, it's looking up? Do you feel like your parents are like,
Yeah, I do. When they came to Greece and I brought them on set to meet everyone, it was like that was like a big moment for me because I saw my dad is a stern, you know, he's a second generation kid, and he was the first one to go to college in his family and this whole thing. And he doesn't know my business, but to see him meet Andrea Martin and Nia Vardalos, like his face was just, it changed. And it was one of the coolest moments I got to see my family have. It kind of invite them into my world. And I was at another great example is I called my publicist. I'm a big basketball fan, and I'm from New Hampshire, Manchester, so we're Boston Celtics fans. So I called my publicist, and she got my dad and I some floor seats, the quote unquote Hollywood seats. So it was a very full circle moment. My dad took me to my first Celtics game and started my hoop dreams. And last month I got to take him for the season opener, and we had the coolest seats in the world and a reserve table at the Putnam Club and all this, and it was great. So my parents are certainly they're very happy for me. They only wanted me to ever be happy, and I think it's safe to say that I am. I'm just so grateful every day for what I have. Yeah, absolutely.
so you speak of New Hampshire. What was it like growing up in New Hampshire? Like, what was it? I mean, I'm sure it was cold.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah, no, I'm looking at sunshine right now outside, very far away from home. New Hampshire was the best place ever. Funny little fact, actually. Adam Sandler grew up and went to like all of the same schools I did, and his sister is my dentist, which is a funny little fact. But no, Manchester, New Hampshire is what a great place to raise a family. When you're a kid, you're like, why didn't I grow up in New York City or Boston, where one of the cool big cities? But the older you get, the more you appreciate, Manchester. And I just love the place. And forever Manchester.
In terms of sport, you love basketball. So what's your is the Celtics still your go-to team?
Oh, Celtics are my go-to team. Patriots, obviously for football, but I will watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I'm still a Tom Brady fan. And so I will watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Love the Red Sox, and Bruins, for hockey. But yeah, I grew up playing basketball. That was my main one. And I also played some lacrosse because I wanted to hit people, and my brothers and I wanted to get that aggression out. So we played some lacrosse too.
Nice. So you're pretty athletic, and now you have a couple of things on the horizon like boxing movies. Have you boxed before?
I haven't had any official like boxing classes or anything, but when we were kids, I think my uncle got us for Christmas like a speed bag and a punching bag, and for like an entire summer, I would just work the speed bag, and I got really good at it. Excuse me. So I'm like excited for it because I know I'm gonna have like the skills to adapt pretty quickly. But just to learn more of the technical side too would be pretty cool.
And based upon what's going on in the country right now, the whole energy of it, how would you define what's going on, and where do you see yourself at, like in the scope, I guess in the scope of things of being, not too, to the left or to the right, but
Yep.
where do you see yourself in it all? Because right now it's a lot going on about young people, and they're voting too early, or they're not voting early enough, or they don't vote at all, or like where, the whole Roe versus Wade being overturned. Where do
Yeah.
you see yourself with all that going on? Like, how do you take that all in as a younger person?
We are in a very divisive time, and it's to be quite frank, fucking scary. What's happening and how separated everyone is. And I've it's always just I don't care what party someone's a part of. Like, I'm always gonna hear what someone has to say, and if it's something I agree with, then I agree with it. I think people are just are very upset and frustrated, and it's a very tumultuous time. And it's kind of a classic thing to say, but we just need to listen. People just need to listen and stop accusing, and just have some regular conversations. And I really think, I mean, I don't have a TikTok because I think it's like the worst piece of poison that's out there. Literally, like, there are algorithms in other countries that promote good things like engineering feats and musical compositions, but here the algorithm promotes people shaking their asses in the camera. And so, I mean, social media, I think, is a total poison that's just feeding this environment that we're in. Instagram, Twitter, especially, because but what we need to remind ourselves is they're not real places, and the conversations need to be had in real forums with faces attached to them. But yeah, man, it's a scary time, and I think the world is looking to people my age and a little bit older to start doing something. And even Hollywood, you look at Hollywood executives, they're getting younger. So I mean, like drastically younger. Like, heads of development now are like 27, 28 years old. So I just think it's coming from the youth. It's coming from people my age. We're the ones that need to really take the first steps, but to making any sort of progress.
Yeah, like you said before, there wasn't a lot of things for you to delve into. People have to write those things for you and kind of develop those things for people who are taking those risks, like yourself. The kind of character twists things that you study and the characters you go after. Those characters, they're not just in all the, that's not in every show. You know what I'm saying? So for
Yeah,
you, I mean, like you said, these younger heads of development, they have a role to fill that is, going to have to be able to find more things of depth for people like yourself to be able to like cover, because
absolutely.
clearly, yeah, especially for the marginalized community. I feel like I'm so happy that Black Panther is making a lot of noise and is doing and breaking a lot of box office records. But
Yeah,
this is like one of the only films that we've had in a long time, with the exception of a few, that really made some noise in Hollywood. And I feel like it needs to be more for everyone's community, just in general. The world is no longer just one way anymore. It's just not one thing, one political party, like you said before. We're citizens of the world. So things that we do are having an effect, good or bad, on the economy as well as the environment. And
Absolutely.
speaking of the environment, are you doing anything in particular for sustainability, or do you stand for any ecological
I
concept?
I mean, I don't do much for green. I carry around a water bottle. I mean, that's probably something I certainly need to improve on. But yeah, no, I pretty much do water. My mother and little brother are super sustainable people, so I should be picking up some of their habits hopefully soon.
The water bottles, that's a lot. I mean, you already know. A lot of times we go to the store, you're on set in craft services, they have tons of water bottles. So the water bottle thing is better than nothing because me and you both know, carbon neutrality, we all have to aim for that. So I would say, yeah, give them that. What kind of car are you looking towards to get? Because if you go to LA full time, you already know you're gonna have a cool car. So are you leaning
All
towards
right, so maybe I am sustainable after all, because while I've been out here, I've just been, sharing Ubers and carpooling with people. Like, if I don't need a car, and that's another thing about being in New York usually is I can just take the subway or walk. But while I'm out here, yeah, I'm just like carpooling with friends or grabbing an Uber. Um,
nice?
yeah.
But if you were to get a car, is there any kind of car or EV that you'd be interested in more so?
Ooh. If maybe one of those paychecks could go to I mean, if I'm being honest, I mean, you got to go classic, like a DB7, a James Bond Aston Martin, right? Uh,
Mhm.
that's a beautiful car. I've always had a thing for Maseratis. I love the symbol, the trident, because growing up, I had this affinity for Poseidon, one of the Greek god of the ocean, and that symbol is just so great on that front grille of a Maserati. So
Right.
yeah, I don't know, one of those two cars, just gorgeous, gorgeous pieces of machinery for sure.
Yeah, Maserati is a gorgeous car. It's gorgeous. I'm so glad they're getting everything back together because they've gone through some rough times. But the truck version of the car is great. We do a lot of things in the auto world. So we just started working with Lamborghini, working with Maserati as well. But Maserati, I can't wait to test drive some of their vehicles. Polestar has a great all electric car. A lot of people doing all electrics now, even with Lexus too. So Lexus has a new RZ coming out. There's like this new Lexus. It looks like a spaceship. It's kind of small, like
So
like
Vaughn,
spaceship.
you're super stylish. So what are you driving, my man? You probably got some nice
Well,
car in
I'm
your.
in New York. I'm in New York right now.
You taking the
Alexa,
subway?
that's Alexa talking to us. No, no, no. Normally, I drive an EV actually, but
EV.
it's an electric bike.
My man, all right, sustainable,
It's all
sustainable.
about sustainability. But no, before I used to love Infinity. I used to love Infinity and the way they had the cars in the Caterman theories, where they had everything was like torque was matched to the horsepower. But now it's all about EV cars, and some of the EVs are hit or miss. Some of the
Yeah,
interiors are like, and then
yeah,
some of the interior, but it's like everyone's talking about Tesla. It's like I'm not a real big fan of Tesla because I really didn't. I don't like the evolution of like what's going on with what that brand is doing right now.
yeah.
However, a lot of other people and their EV cars are looking a lot more stylish. They have a lot more electronics in them. A lot of them are having 21-inch wheels on them. It's like really 22s on them. But no, I'm in New York right now, so I've been going back and forth like yourself. So I've been going back and forth in New York, LA, New York, LA. So now I'm
That's
in New York
that's
and
the
it's
business.
freezing out here. It's freezing
Yeah.
out. It's
What's
like
the temp?
44 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
Well, tomorrow's 34 degrees. But you know what's cool about LA, New York is that you guys, the fashion in terms of like your winter clothes.
Yeah, no, it's a good. Wait. So how have we not talked about this yet? You know Peter.
Yes, I know Peter. Peter is a real good friend of mine. Peter is I've known him since back in the day when I was doing the same thing you were doing that you're doing now. And
Yeah,
then I used to do some modeling things, and I wanted to talk to you about modeling too. But yeah, but the modeling world, I think I was at Wilhelmina at the time in Miami, and I used to be with Next, or everyone in different markets. But Peter, he had a friend or somebody named Rob or something, and I think Rob has an agency in Vermont. don't catch the, I don't remember everything, Peter, please. Sorry. But Peter was a photographer, and he's always be like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. When we were kids and stuff. So Peter, yeah, I've known Peter for quite some time, and then we reconnected, and he told me all about you, and I was like, oh wow. He was like, yeah, because you guys are doing all this stuff. You guys handle all these different people, and you guys do a lot of millennial Gen Z topics and products. And I was like, yeah. So that's how I met Peter. I think it was Miami a long time ago, in Miami. And Peter was a photographer. He shot everybody. But speaking of which, that's what I was gonna ask you about as well. I know a lot of people, we got your favorite car, which we're gonna work on that too.
My man, my man.
But what's going on? So how did this whole modeling world come about with you?
So, I mean, I've always tried to stay away from modeling, but like I went on a couple go-sees, that's the lingo for it, right? The go-see. And it was, this was like, when did I do this? Probably, this was in New York City, probably like 2019, 2018, maybe. And there were still some very creepy casting, modeling casting directors out there. And I remember I just got kind of spooked by, a few of them. And I was like, I don't want to do it. But then once the acting started taking off and people wanted to start giving me their clothes, and the shoots became like much more professional and amazing. And I've absolutely had a blast. Like, I get so excited to shoot magazines. Like when I was shooting with Mike Ruiz, I remember we had this like 20-minute discussion with everybody about my hair, like what they wanted to do for the look. And I was like, oh, this is so professional. And they had all these amazing clothes. We did like 15, 20 looks. I brought my guitar and played like during the course of the shoot, and it was like a blast. So it started out like, well, I don't really want to be a part of this. And then when I found like the right people and, everything became, oh, you're an actor, let's promote this. And here are some clothes. Like it's been a blast. It's been a blast. Like I totally found that fashion has become like kind of a low-key new passion, because growing up, it was just, worn basketball jerseys and clothes I shared with my brothers. And now like I've got like these new good looking like jackets or shoes or something. And it's a great form of expression. And you feel so good when you're wearing something you like. So I've like totally fallen for fashion. I think it's a fantastic way to express yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And were you working with any agencies at the time when you first started with it?
No agencies. Actually, that's not entirely true. The ones that I went out very early on, the agency I was with was a local agency back home in Manchester, New Hampshire, NEMG. They're fantastic. I owe so much of my career to them, because they said this is something you should pursue, and they were great people. But no, I was never a part of like you. I was never part of like a big modeling agency, or I've got a few friends that have been doing it. What's that big one?
IMG.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, right now at this point, we got to talk, because like because you're so much more marketable now that you're doing all these amazing things as series regulars, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Like most agencies are going to take you on. It's not going to be based upon how tall you are, how good your walk is. It's going to be based upon like, the fact that you have a fan base and that you're current and you're up to par. And then also you stand for something. Like listening to you, talking to you, and where you break down things, and you have such a firm affirmation to who you are in your community as a Greek, person. I think it's amazing. So for you, it's like the sky's the limit in that world. I mean, for you, it's more so of an endorsement, if that makes any sense. Yeah. And then yeah, it's more of an endorsement. So for you, and then again, if you keep on doing what you're doing, which I know it's gonna be all up from here, like higher. which is so awesome because I get to talk to you before you before you become like this huge megastar that I know you're gonna become. But the great thing with you is if you apply some of the things if you apply to your acting and you apply that to your modeling, I think you could really do some amazing pictorials.
I
A
think
lot
so.
of times we see actors and they do these photo shoots and it's just kind of like, it falls short.
Yeah.
But then if you look at some of your pictures on your website, Elias Kacavas, your website.com, you can see like, whoa, it's like, bro, you transform. Like,
Yeah.
do people actually tell you that? Because without your scruff versus with your scruff, you're a completely different person. And like your
No, for
profile
sure.
picture is your three-quarter you like a completely different person. And I feel like that's the kind of person that people are always looking for, somebody that can metamorphose. So I would say for you, if you can keep on doing, if you can keep applying what you've applied with your method acting, put some of that in terms of the modeling pictorials, that will really elevate that world for you
Appreciate
fast. And I'm
it.
definitely gonna talk to Peter about some ideas that I have for you because I feel like, I mean, bro, like Pretty Little Liars is like that show is crazy. So that show is crazy. But in terms of music, before I forget, how did you get into this guitar?
So yeah, man. Next to acting, my biggest passion is music. I'm in like heaven right now because the house I'm staying at, my friend's house, he's got a grand piano in the living room and he's got guitars in the studio. So I'll literally start my morning, cup of coffee, be on the grand piano for about an hour, hour and a half, and then I'll go to the guitar room and start jamming out on those. I started playing guitar about 6 years ago, and 7 years ago. And then that kind of was really enjoying it. I remember hearing I think it was I heard Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry, like the godfather of rock and roll, do his intro lick, and I'm like, I want to play that on the guitar. So I started chasing it after that, and I joined a band in high school. We were terrible, but had a blast, and I started writing songs back then. So yeah, it was so worth it. It was a great time. And then taught myself piano, and I sing a little bit. And I've had a band in New York City, and we play some great shows. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I noticed that. And you sing too. You got to mention that. You sing it. Yeah, right. You actually have a nice pitch, bro. I heard you sing in one of the talk shows you did. I was like, really? Is there anything Elias can't do? No, bro, you sound good. So how did you fall into that world of singing? Like how did you find your singing voice? Because everybody talks about singing, but you found your tonality. Like how did you find that?
I think I'm still finding it, still discovering it, because as you can tell, I've got a pretty raspy, kind of unique voice. And so it's been a long journey of finding my singing voice. It really has. But one of my roommates at NYU, his name's Carmine. He is like, if Broadway was a person, if it could be personified, it's him. He's got this big, beautiful belt operatic voice. And so he would give me lessons, and I would watch him, and I would learn, I would see him do the scales. And so I'm still in the process of finding my voice, but I've certainly come a long way in the last 2 years, I'd say.
And given the opportunity, if you were given the opportunity, which I'm sure it will come very soon, sooner than later, what type of Broadway show would you do? Would you actually would you actually do an off Broadway show as well, off Broadway? I can see you doing both, like really like having lines wrapped around the door.
I like that, my man. I like that. So yeah, being coming from the New York acting training, I trained on a stage, and I just had a talk with my manager while I was out here about potentially doing some straight Broadway plays, some dramas, and then I think I need a few more years to get my voice ready for the Broadway musical. But yeah, so I'm looking to do like a straight drama on Broadway pretty soon. I think that would be a lot of fun, going back to my roots. And then at some point in my life, I'd love to do a musical on Broadway.
And then what was it like growing up with your twin brother? Because you guys are identical twins. So do you guys like bump into each other? Do people like confuse you
Oh,
guys? And
We
first of all,
hated each other. We hated each other. We shared a room, clothes, friends, teachers, sports, food, space, like everything. So, and everyone just, they would mistake us up until we were seniors in high school. And, when you're that age, you're just looking for an identity. So we were trying to push each other away and have our own identities for so long. And then when college rolled around the corner, and we knew that we were going to be going in different places, we had this like realization that, hey man, you're the closest thing I have in this world. I love you. And, I look up to you. And so our relationship, when we found that there was going to be some space in between us and we no longer had to share clothes and friends and lives, that we got infinitely closer. And yeah, it was a pain in the ass growing up, but he's, I love him to death. He's my guy.
so did you guys always were you guys dressed up like Bert and Ernie a lot? Did your mom, did your mom have you in striped shirts or were you guys like pretty much?
My mom, funnily enough, my mom had to put blue toenail polish on me and red on him to tell us apart when we were younger. So that was kind of, yeah.
Wow. And if you were to live in LA, I'm just saying, or have a spot, let's just say have a spot. Which area of LA would you live in? Since I'm sure you're kind of new to the area now, but
Yeah.
where would you live in? Which
I
spot?
mean, obviously I'm shooting for Beverly Hills, but I I know I'm a little young for that, little underprepared, but no, I spent when like filming Euphoria, Henry and I were put up in a hotel in West Hollywood, and it was a great location. Like I thought it was fantastic. I really loved West Hollywood, and I've actually been to West Hollywood the last 2 nights to go to the Soho House to have some meetings. But no, it's a great area. It's a great area.
Yeah, West Hollywood's great. Also, downtown Culver City area. That's a cool area too. Check that area out. When I'm in LA, I'm always in that area downtown. The Culver Hotel. Now they have the new Hyatt Hotel. It's Margot's is the restaurant on the platform on National in Washington. That's where what you call it? Soul Cycle. Soul Cycle's there. And yeah, so they have a Soul Cycle in that building, but it's a really great area. Great Italian food at Margot's. Shout out to Margot's. I was one of the first people to actually review that restaurant. So and what's so cool about Margot's for you is the cool thing of it is that when it's not too cold, they have an outdoor area on the rooftop. So the train actually drives right by you. So it's kind of cool, the expo line. So you'd be like, okay, New York, I'm in New York now. So, it's my only little area. I'm like, yeah, I'm in New York. So, and speaking of which, you seem like a very headstrong young person that's very you seem very kind, like you have a great heart. Having said that, have you lent your name in support of any community service organizations?
I just started talking to my publicist because I'm starting to reach a level of celebrity where if I were to go to a hospital and visit like the cancer wing, that actually might mean something. So I started talking to my publicist about that, and yeah, I'm very excited because I've actually had some health physical health obstacles and had to spend a lot of time in the hospital. So I know how much it would mean if someone I admired came and said something. So yeah,
like a St. Jude's or something.
Yeah.
And if we mind us asking, what kind of health issues were you experiencing?
So I'm pretty private about this because it's just not something I really share, but yeah, just for a while I was laid up in the hospital with just some issues.
There's like physical ailments or more so mental too, or not just physical?
Yeah, physical.
Oh, and you're all better now, right?
Yeah. I'm back to 100%. My quality of life is so much better. I mean, I remember after I left the hospital, I started crying because it was the first time I had been happy in about 8 years, like at a level where I didn't have to be happy from something. Like I was just happy and everything upstairs in my head was working. And it was, yeah, Yeah.
So you feel like being in the hospital really made that you come to that realization to really appreciate what you had going for you?
100%. And it made me realize how special the people on Pretty Little Liars were, because I got sick in the middle of shooting and I had to go. And they sent me cards and everything, and texts and calls saying my job was going to be there when I get back, and I needed to just take my time and get healthy again. And that was so touching. Yeah.
Wow, you're such a great person. You're such an open book, which is so necessary to be transparent today. I'm sure you noticed a lot of young people are so lost, particularly young people and also older people. So, and it's great to hear that you said to yourself, I'm in this situation, I'm not doing too well, but then you get better and you say, you know what, I'm gonna be happy because I survived this incident, I survived this ordeal. Now you're taking your life not so much for granted any longer, which is great. Because a lot of us take our lives for granted and we don't understand, being able to use both of our limbs and being able to talk and walk and run and do
No,
all those.
after I got out of the hospital, I started journaling every day, and I journal about like epiphanies or whatever, but I always conclude with 3 things I'm grateful for. Every day I journal, because I'm very happy to be better.
So if you can't find a Hollywood off-Broadway show, I mean, it sounds like you might have to have you a one-man show. Like a dinner theater with Elias.
I don't know if I'm entertaining enough for that, my man.
So hold on one second. Is there one thing or one adjective or maybe two that best describe who you are, and why would you say that? And why would people feel the same way?
Ooh, good question. Introspective and I'm not sure what an adjective would be to encapsulate this phrase of just always looking to get better. But so I would say, introspective is definitely number one. I'm someone who looks in quite a bit, hence the journaling and the meditation I do. And I think as an actor, you need to be constantly looking inward and while observing outward. And I'm someone who doesn't have the highest social battery, so I love to spend a lot of alone time writing songs and being in solitude, and just gives me a chance to be close to myself and really understand the decisions I make and what path they lead me on. So I think my dad certainly saw that. It was funny, we were at a family dinner and the conversation of, what animal would you be came up, and we all went, and my dad said, no, Elias, you would be a giant squid. And I'm like, what the fuck? and he's like, no, because you are alone all the time and you live at the lowest, darkest, deepest depths. And that's a mouthful. And anyway, yeah, I'm someone who just spends a lot of alone time in places where I just get to think and observe. And yeah.
Nice. Wow. So thank you so much, Elias. Pretty much, is there anything else you wanted to add that we didn't touch on today? I think we touched on everything but your favorite color and your horoscope. But other than
I just want to thank you, Vaughn, for talking with me, brother. I didn't, this was unbelievably pleasant. I had a great time. So thank you so much.
yeah, and I'm so proud of you. I've never really met you in person, but I'm sure when I do, I'm gonna give you a big hug because I'm so proud of you that you've taken yourself serious enough to understand that life is short, and also to give yourself permission to be who you really are. And I think that's important for young people right now with everything going on with the divisiveness in the country. Like you said before, we all know it's true, unfortunately, but I think what's important is that we listen and learn to, talk, and it's okay to have differences. That's what make the world goes round, right? Like we all are different people. So I think it's so
Absolutely.
awesome, and I'm so happy for you. I'm so in your corner. I'm rooting for you.
I can't wait to meet
I
you,
can't wait.
man.
I can't wait till you get your Academy Award nomination and your Tony. I know it sounds a little extra, but I'm trying to tell you, I follow people like you, and I really research them, and I see everything that everyone's seen in you, and then some. So I see like your whole. I only meet so many people, and when I do meet so many people like yourself, I know it's for a reason. And so for you, it's like the sky is like way high for you, and I'm so excited that we had to sit down in a discussion because you're gonna laugh one day when you get that nomination. You better thank me too.
Vaughn, thank you so much, man. You're too kind. I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so
You
much.
too, and we'll be in
Bye, brother.
touch. Bye bye.
Absolutely.